Despite my ever-growing pile of shame, it'll come as no surprise that I still purchased the Leviathan starter box for 40k 10th edition. What may come as a surprise is I have actually built most of the Leviathan box. I built everything except the 5 stern guard because I didn't get enough 32mm bases. I actually got a 28mm base extra and one less 32mm base. I assume that was a packaging error, but whatever. I wasn't really going to use the stern guard anyway. But for everything else, it is completely built, and I had to deal with a lot of push-fit models. But what are push-fit models?
We just don't know.
Why are push-fit models? And most importantly, perhaps, how are push-fit models? Hey, you doing okay there? For the what and the why, I think you just need to picture this. You and your buddy have heard of this exciting thing called Warhammer 40k, and it seems they have a new edition. It must be a good game. They've had 39,999 other editions before this. You rush eagerly down to your Warhammer shop that used to be called Games Workshop. Why the hell they changed the name, I don't know. And you grab the box, eager to split it between the two of you, and you have to put it together? That's a pain in the ass. Fortunately, with the power of push-fit models, you only need a pair of clippers, and you're ready to go. Put them all together like a jigsaw puzzle, and then you're ready to play the fantastic game of Warhammer 40k. And by reducing the reliance on needing a knife or glue, then you can also get kids involved, and like all good drugs, getting them involved early and hooked early means that they will be a lifetime customer. You're most likely to find push-fit models in these starter boxes or in smaller games where you just have a few pieces you need to get together quickly, or in magazines like Imperium or Stormbringer. You can see in this latest introductory set, you get 5 or 10 models for each side, and then you've got clippers, paint, paintbrush, and some dice. I'd argue you probably want some sort of hobby knife in there to clean up some of the bits when you get them off the sprue. If you're trying to sell this to kids, it's probably difficult to actually include a knife in there. As the name suggests, push-fit models are models that you push together to make them fit. This might be a bit semantically pedantic of me, but there are a bunch of problems that I don't think are really problems that people discuss. They're more of just limitations. I feel the difference is the limitations are things that you've accounted for in your design, whilst the problem is something you haven't accounted for in your design. And there are limitations to push-fit models. They're all going to be monopose, as in everyone who orders a Leviathan box is going to have the exact same poses for every single model. There's no freedom in moving the arms or legs or bodies or heads into different positions. You also have no choice with weapon loadouts. You have to use the weapon loadouts provided with the box. You can't choose different weapons, even if the unit data cards say that they can have different weapons. This also means you're not going to get any spare parts like you would do with a normal kit. Because they're bigger chunky pieces that fit together in a very specific way, they're also going to be quite difficult to kit bash. Not impossible, but they are going to be more difficult. For more veteran players, this could be quite hefty limitations, but for a newer player, these are actually fine. You're not going to really understand the different loadouts, and you just want to be able to pick up and play and get these on the table pretty quick. You also don't need to worry about glue, especially on some models where you have to glue certain parts and not others to get things to move. If there's one hot and spicy take to take away from this video, I think all dreadnoughts should be push fit.
Yeah, boy.
The ballistus thing dreadnought that we got with Leviathan is so much nicer to put together than any of the other Redemptor type dreadnoughts I've put together, like either the Invicta Warsuit or the Brutalis. The legs with that wheel thing around the hip joint, I guess, is just so annoying with glue. When this is all just one piece, you just stick it together and it's done. All the panels are one piece. Just do that. I don't need to have all the little bit of moving parts with all the arms and stuff. Just give me big block of plastic, let me push fit it together in about 8 pieces, and I'm way happier with dreadnoughts. So whilst there are limitations I can understand, that does not mean that push fit is not without its actual problems. And oh boy howdy are there problems. Let me just get my list. I think there are 2 major problems with push fit design. This is all going to be from Leviathan box examples because that's what I built recently, but they do spread out to other push fit boxes or push fit models that I've seen before. The first issue, which is the most painful and annoying issue, is best summed up with this piece here. What is this piece? It's just a very small little piece that doesn't really look like it fits in any model. So to explain this, we have to go back a little bit. Because everything is push fit and you want to have no reliance on glue, you've got to get it onto the base somehow. Now, bases come in various sizes, and a lot of them are going to be the same between a lot of different models. The last thing you want is a bunch of same size models with different holes in them to actually be able to fit everything. So you have to make sure that every single base is the same, has the same holes in the same place, and that your molds and your push fit models fit into those bases in different ways. This might limit some of the different poses you can do, but they've done quite a good job here. There's lots of different ways they manage to fit things into like a 40mm base or a 32mm base, etc. Some models you use both holes, some models you only use one, and then there's a bit of scenery that goes into the other. And that's what this piece is. It's a bit of scenery to fill the other hole of a base that's unused by the actual model. So the other thing with push fit is they have to be quite snug. You have to be able to have them fit in, not so much that they kind of click, but you have to put a little bit of pressure on, otherwise they're just going to slip back out, right? So you look at this piece here and you think, okay, it's a small bit of scenery to fit in the base. What's the problem? Well, the problem is they designed it as a fucking spike. And because you need to put quite a lot of pressure to put it into the bloody base, it spikes into your thumb. This piece, just a small base piece, almost drew blood. And because I'm not very smart, I put the model on first, so I was trying to push this spike in underneath the model. And whilst this problem is personified by this piece, it's not the only piece that does it. The Neurotyrant has a spiky base piece, as does a Screamer Killer. The Von Ryan Leapers fall into this problem, as did the Neurogaunts. You'd think the Neurogaunts would be fine. They're literally 2 pieces, but both pieces are spiky. So you have to put 2 spiky bits together and just get blood all over them. The other issue, and the one I think is really the failing of PushFit, is the push part itself. Again, like I said, you have to be able to push these things in quite snugly, so there is a bit of a resistance when you push them. This is good because it means obviously they're not going to just fall apart as soon as you try to use them, but the problem is you have to push them quite hard, and some of these pieces are very fragile. Either the pieces themselves are very fragile, like little arms for your Gribblies and Tyranids, or the bit you're pushing has a fragile part on it. In some cases, because of the way they've had to design some of these models to actually get them to different poses, they have very weird pieces with very small bits that are kind of points of failure when you push them, causing bits to bend and get malformed and sometimes even break. The new Lieutenant model that comes with the box has an antenna on the head, which you wouldn't think is too much of a problem, right? Except trying to push the head in, because it's such a small piece, you're accidentally bending the antenna, or at least I was. I found it very difficult to put my thumb in a place that would, 1, be able to actually push it into the gap without my thumb blocking the gap itself, or 2, not actually pushing on the antenna. So the antenna bent a bit. It didn't break, fortunately, and it was able to bend back in place, but still a bit annoying. Similarly, a lot of these tiny arms where you put them on bigger models like the Neurotyrant or the Screamer Killer, these little arms are very, very fiddly. And if you don't put them in the right way, they will bend and potentially snap. I don't think it's all bad news for PushFit models, though. One thing I will say is I did manage to put this box together pretty quickly, a lot quicker than I was going to do with glue because of how big the pieces are. Stuff like this big thing, I can't remember the name of it, was only 6 pieces. It's like the 2 body pieces and a few arms and you're done. That's great. Like I said before, the Dreadnoughts were fantastic. I would absolutely only build PushFit Dreadnoughts if I could, because they're so much nicer. The Termagants as well were so much nicer. I didn't have to worry about that horrible 3-point-2-handed gun thing because of how it fits together. The arms and the guns pieced together so nicely. They were a lot better to put together than they would have been with glue. The Von Ryan Leapers, the Neurogaunts, and the Neurotyrant really should have just been glue. Or at least in the case of the Neurotyrant, at least a bit better design. There are some weird things you have to do. There's a lot of little arms that can snap off. There's the crown fits on in a weird way. There are also a couple of weird places where you just couldn't help yourself, could you, GW? Why is this toe claw a separate piece? What the hell is the point of that? And also, please, please, please give helmeted options across the whole thing. The Librarian I can do without a helmet, fine, he's magic. But the Terminator Captain, really? I absolutely refuse to use this stupid screaming face on my Terminator Captain. Currently he has no head. I'm trying to find him a nicer one that would fit the Screaming Raven theme, but my god, what the hell is this? So PushFit models, in conclusion, are okay, I suppose. I'm fine with the limitations because of the audience that these are targeted for, but some of the design issues are a bit of a problem, and I would like to see them maybe fixed in the future, maybe with a better design around some of the pieces that they actually make you put in. The main positive really is there isn't a reduction in quality of the actual mold and the models themselves. These models are lovely. They're really, really nice, very well detailed, and the PushFit doesn't affect that at all. Now just need to go and undercoat them and paint them at some point in the next 20 years. But until then, let me know what you thought about the Leviathan box or PushFit models in general. Leave your comments down below. I love reading them, and that'll be it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy, just go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, all the good YouTube stuff, and I'll see you next time. Thank you very much for watching.